everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space or set oppression in place because we understand that a better future, a better tomorrow is not only possible, it is goddamn absolutely necessary for us to be able to live our absolute maximum potential as people, for us to be able to roam this earth and not worry. Are we going to be able to drink the water and breathe the air and traverse without wildfires and landslides? And can we just be here absence of violence, state violence, misogynistic violence, homophobic and transphobic violence? Can we, racist violence? Can we just get rid of the violence? Is that possible? I think it is. I think it is. And I want to welcome everybody to the program. A couple of things. We got. Well, first of all, hold on. Let me say what's up to everybody. Welcome. I see Shirley. Hi, Shirley. I see Holly Horn. I see. We got some new people. Come on in here. I love to see it. Alice is in here. So is my dearest Anna. And Tyler Hackner, my baby. Tyler, let me start calling you my son, because I think you young enough, you 20, you could totally be my son. Out here, Big Teal is in the building. We got Quaker. And we got Latif, of course. Ooh, heads up, Courtney and Latif. You see that we are going to be talking about the Johnny Depp and the Amber Heard verdict. And Molly gave me a heads up that the trolls are afoot. the trolls are making their way from under the bridges right now as we speak. So y'all know what to do. If motherfuckers come in here and start talking crazy, you gotta kindly show them the door, because we not have time for the foolishness. We will not be defending abusers, not on this channel. Maybe go talk to some of y'all liberal friends, but we don't do that here. We don't do that here. Not at least not to our knowledge. Ursula, hi sweetie, thank you so much. Ursula, girl, what is happening in your country right now with that Queen's Jubilee? Is the Queen even alive? Did the Queen pass on her church service today because she was afraid it was going to double as her funeral? Is that what in the hell is the UK doing? Celebrating the long lasting power of the colony, but the former colonies are like, bitch, your time is ticking. That day is soon going to come to a close when the sun never sets on the British Empire. Bitch, please, we don't want to hear all that. But a couple of things. So before we get the show started, I would like to share some good news, two good newses. And the good news was brought to me by y'all. So you guys already knew this good news apparently, but I just found out. We want to send congratulations going out to Latif. Latif just got himself a new gig, and a gig that he knew and fought for and knew that he deserved a better opportunity than the previous ones that had been presented to him. So we want to send congratulations going out to Latif for the new gig. Congratulations, sweetheart. We appreciate you. Yeah, give up some flame emojis and some heart emojis for Latif out here. Boo, 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 boo. And the other good news brought to me by Infinite Content, even though I knew the good news, Infinite Content, but thank you for reminding me that it is good news and we should share and celebrate. But our little daughter or niece, depending on your perspective, Coco Gauff is going to be playing tomorrow in the French Open finals. This is Coco's first Grand Slam finals. She's in Roland Garros, and she just turned, I think Coco just turned 18 recently, and she just graduated from high school. So we want to send all the love, all the good luck, all the positive vibes going out to Coco Gauff out there in Roland Garros. And heads up, Coco plays tomorrow in the finals, in the women's singles finals at 8 o'clock in the morning. At 8 o'clock in the morning. So I think I'm going to try to set my alarm to get up and watch Coco do her thing out here. I love to see Venus and Serena's daughters out here. Don't y'all love to see Venus and Serena's daughters out here? Coco, Sloane Stevens. And there's a couple more. Naomi Osaka, of course. Venus and Serena got daughters out here. I love to see it. And I just saw King Richard for the first time recently. It's on HBO. And I have to say, I was much more impressed with Will Smith's performance than I thought I was going to be impressed. See, sometimes when we do Black stories and people are in my opinion, sometimes miscast on their color on their color type. Because I did not think, I'm like, do I really want to watch a high yellow Richard Williams out here, Will Smith? I don't know. But Will did the thing. I was extremely impressed with his mastery of that Cajun Creole accent, that country, that deep country Louisiana accent that Richard Williams got. I thought it was actually a very good movie. So shout out to the Williamses out here doing their thing. Listen, gang, if you haven't already, do me a favor. Hit like on the video. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, kindly subscribe to the channel and do us a favor and follow us places around the internet. We are at BIDWKB on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. Northern Witch is modding for us on Twitch. Thank you all so much who have actually been following us on Twitch. Thanks. Good job. Keep up the good work. Oh, wait. We've got some things. I missed one of them things. Wait. I missed the blue one. What was the blue one that popped up? Oh my gosh, King, thank you so much for your super chat, King. That's what's happening. Thank you, King. We appreciate that. Oh, okay. Well, looking at the chat. Hold on. What was the blue thing that popped up, Tunde? I missed that one. Somebody ran us something. Noli D, thank you, baby girl. You are fantastic. Okay, I popped out the chat and let me close the YouTube window so we don't drag the video down even further. Gang, we've got a great show for you in store today. There's a number of stories that I wanted to get into. Johnnie Depp and Amber Heard again. The reason I want to talk about that is because, I think it's very important to talk about issues surrounding domestic violence. And then I think there's been a lot of misinformation been put out there. And I don't think a lot of people are familiar in the ways in which abuse really, truly presents itself. Like I saw a lot of talk about, it was mutual abuse. They were hitting each other. Well, if my man, let's go there. If my man puts hands on me, right, and I black his eye, is that mutual abuse or am I defending myself? Anyway, we'll get to that shortly. Also, gang, and I know we have some international viewers, in addition to the usual all-stars we have. Ursula and Damien always come through rep for the UK. When I check our statistics, India, I see you out there. What's going on? Jamaica, Mexico. Clearly somebody is watching this shit from beyond the former colonies of Great Britain. So make yourself seen out here. Stand up. I want to know who you are, especially if you're watching us from the peninsula out in India, because I'm looking for a foreign husband, and I like the way them South Asian men, some of them be fine as a motherfucker. So yeah, India, make yourself known out here. Okay, but there's that. But in America, tragically, the school massacre that happened in Uvalde a week and a half ago has not been the end of mass shooting gun violence in the U.S. and it's so accepted and normalized. And I know people, there are stories, and we're going to touch on some stories too, some of which have happened over the past week since Uvalde that have been unreported. Well, let me not say unreported. They just did not make national news. Do you know why they didn't make national news? Because there's been so many fucking shootings. It's almost impossible for national news media to be able to recap them all for the benefit of informing us as to how violent America is. And not to say that America has not been this violent. Oh, no. I mean, this is standard operating procedure here for the United States. But I think maybe there's starting to be some sort of shift, some sort of flickering of eyelids. People are trying to come out of the slumber, I suppose. But I want us to take a look at the shooting in Tulsa. Again, horrific. Black guy shot his black doctor and another doctor and a couple other folks as well. I don't condone. Anyway, I'm gonna get to that when I get to that because I can feel myself going out on a tangent here, and I want us to get into the show. So the first thing actually I wanted to start with, we are going to start in Uvalde. We are absolutely going to start in Uvalde because it's 21 people murdered, massacred at this elementary school, and the police cover up of their ineptitude, of their misguided actions when attempting to take down the shooter, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, at Robb Elementary School, and the ways in which the police acted on the scene and things that they have done in the aftermath. So let's begin actually with the recapping of a story. And I put this on my Twitter page. And if you didn't, I hope you haven't seen it on my Twitter page, because I want you to see this for the first time and understand the kind of heroics, first of all, that women, particularly mothers, are capable of, and juxtapose that against the limp dick cowardice and pussification of the very well-armed federal agents and Uvalde police officers that were standing around outside of Robb Elementary School while a active shooting situation was taking place. And I know you guys heard, because I mentioned it here, but I'm sure you guys heard it other places, that the day of the shooting, police were harassing and attacking parents, handcuffing parents, pepper spraying parents, preventing parents from going into Robb Elementary to go retrieve their children. And there was a story floating around about a mother who had been handcuffed and then was out of the handcuffs and then went inside and got both of her kids out alive. And I'm like, is this person an urban legend? Who is this person? Well, it turns out that CBS News spoke with her, and her name is Angel Gomez, okay? Angel works out in the field. Angel, how CBS described it or categorized her occupation was that she worked on a farm. She was a farm hand or a farm laborer. I'm not sure if she was, picking and sorting produce. But she was in her overalls, you know what I'm saying? Angel was out there working with her hands. Make no mistake about it. And I want you guys to listen to her accounting of her bravery, of how Angel was not going to be felled by some bitch ass niggas wearing uniforms and carrying guns and yet doing nothing to safely evacuate children during an active shooter situation in their elementary school. And I want you guys to listen to the ways in which the police heavy-handedly dealt with the parents in a very inconsiderate is almost being too generous about it, just callous. Let's go with that. A very callous and uncaring, and at the same time, cowardly ways that they were interacting with the parents and denying the parents the opportunities to go save the children themselves. So let's hear directly from Angel Gomez, y'all. I need to see them fists in the air for Angel Gomez after you hear how Angel went inside and bravely saved her children by herself. Let's take a look.
Right away as I parked, U.S. Marshal started coming toward my car saying that I wasn't allowed to be parked there. And he said, well, we're going to have to arrest you because you're being very uncooperative. I said, well, you're going to have to arrest me because I'm going in there. And I'm telling you right now, I don't see none of y'all in there. Y'all are standing with snipers and y'all are far away. If y'all don't go in there, I'm going in there. He immediately put me in cuffs.
She says after Uvalde police officers told marshals to uncuff Gomez, she ran towards the school.
As soon as they uncuffed me, I jumped that first gate fence. And once I jumped it, I went to my son's class and I knocked on the door. And I remember the teacher saying, I'm like, hey, they're already bolt cutting the fence to get me. She's like, you think we have time to get out? I said, y'all have time. I'm going to run for my other son.
Once she was assured her son was okay, Gomez ran to get her other child, encountering more officers who tried to stop her.
So I start yelling and I'm being uncooperative and I'm like, well, y'all aren't doing what are y'all doing? Y'all ain't doing y'all need to be in here. Give me your vest. Somebody give me a vest, something. I started paying attention to how far the shots were being so that I knew the shooter was all the way still by my first son's class. So when I went to my second son's door, the teacher didn't want to open the door for me. So that's when they started escorting me out. And as I see that they're opening my son's door, I go run for my son and I get him.
With both of her kids out safe, Gomez still can't shake the thought of those who didn't make it.
While you were inside the school, did you see officers
there was
inside
not one
the school?
Officer inside the school when I ran to my second son. class. There was not one officer.
And you were hearing gunshots, so you knew
You
that
could hear the
it was
gunshots.
an active shooter.
It was still active. The gunshots were still active. They were not in there. There was no one in there. If anything, when I pulled up, my car was closer to the school than where the snipers and everybody that was laying on the ground were.
When you heard that it took law enforcement 75 minutes before they went in and stopped the shooter, what was your thinking, having been inside the school yourself?
I don't know. I was just thinking that they could have saved many more lives. They could have gone into that classroom and maybe 2 or 3 would have been gone, but they could have saved the whole class. They could have done something. Gone through the window, sniped them through the window. I mean, something, but nothing was being done. If anything, they were being more aggressive on us parents that were willing to go in there. And like I told one of the officers, I don't need you to protect me. Get away from me. I don't need your protection. If anything, I need you to go in there with me to go protect my kids. And if anything, they were being more aggressive on us. They were more pertained on keeping us back than getting into that school.
You know,
Gang, that's a lot. That's a lot to take in right there, and from all kinds of different perspectives, right? First of all, let me give it up to Angel. Woo, child. Angel, a G amongst G's out here. Angel came fresh from work. Angel pulled up on the elementary school like, skirt, right? Fuck you, pigs. My children are in there. My children are in danger. My children's lives are in danger right now. Are y'all going to go in and get them? No? Well, then get the fuck out the way. And it's unsurprising yet infuriating at the same time that the police had all the smoke for the parents. You had all the smoke for the parents, my guys. What? No smoke for fucking Ramos, right? No smoke for Ramos. Ramos can just walk into school. Ramos can stand in the classroom and take as many lives as his AR-15 will allow bullets to be shot in a number of seconds. But y'all had all the smoke for the parents, huh? And her heartbreak, the sustained collective trauma of what happened in Uvalde, and truly it extends to everybody in the U.S. Well, everybody who cares about the loss of life needlessly and unnecessarily. But I think that's us. That's us over in here, right? We are very empathetic and sympathetic and caring folks, so we can all put ourselves in the shoes of the parents, or at least try to, of those who lost their children. But think about what Angel had to do. And you see, they wrote up on Angel. Clearly, CBS News did. She was at work. It did not look like Angel was not sitting on the couch, right, getting interviewed. Angel had her work shit on. Angel is clearly about business. I fucks with Angel. Angel needs to be running the community reimagination of the Uvalde police, the police department, because clearly Angel has enough sense, training, and more importantly, heart, courage, bravery, the traits that you would expect, or at least that the cop mythology that we have been conditioned and programmed with since we were all very young people here in the U.S. Those are the words that you associate with police. But Uvalde in that day showed that was not them. That was, in fact, Angel Gomez and other parents, I'm sure, who would have done the same if they had not been restrained by police officers. The increasingly, let's say, hostile posture coming from Uvalde, either from the Uvalde School District Police Department or from the Uvalde Police Department themselves or from the Uvalde County Sheriff's Department, apparently they have stopped cooperating with the Texas Department of Public Safety in their investigation. And I really don't know what that means. What do you mean they have stopped cooperating? Now, we know here from looking at a lot of different stories, right? Police obviously have more rights than regular citizens when they are being investigated for crimes, particularly shootings on the job. But hold on, I thought y'all were the good guys with the guns. It's police who end up murdering people who have the right not to speak with investigators for, and it varies depending on where and what police department it is, but 72 hours, a week, a month, those police officers can opt not to speak with investigators because, you know, they are potentially being charged with crimes. Do these cops think that they could be charged with crimes? Is there something about their conduct on that day that may have been criminal or negligent? I wonder why they stopped cooperating with the investigation. Well, for one, clearly these niggas cannot stop lying. If we could pop up A2 Tunde. Remember when we spoke and looked at the press conference clips of Uvalde? I guess this was last week. I don't know. My sense of time is so fucked up from the pandemic. I don't know if shit happened a week ago. Was it yesterday? Was it 3 months ago? I have no idea. But when we did the recap about Uvalde and we showed the subsequent press conference clips, how the story kept changing from Tuesday to Thursday to Friday, every time someone representing law enforcement from South Texas has something different to say about what the fuck happened. And that continues to happen. So remember when Colonel McGraw, who is the head, the HCIC of the Texas Department of Public Safety, McGraw got up there and said on Friday, here we go, it's all coming back to me now. He said on Friday, how Ramos was able to gain entry into the school was because a teacher had propped open a door. A teacher had propped open a door and left the door propped open. So that's how Ramos was able to just walk in unencumbered into Robb Elementary School, when, of course, the first version of that story was that Ramos was encountered by a very brave, their words, a very brave Uvalde consolidated integrated school district police officer, school resource officer, which either, I can't say it turned out to be a lie. They just walked it back. I don't know that a school resource officer was there or was not there. They just walked it back. Because again, my guess is that they're trying to already cover and protect for people, but not for the teacher. Not for the teacher. So the teacher who remains unnamed in this Yahoo piece, and the headline reads, it reads that Uvalde teacher who officials mistakenly said left door open is traumatized and heartbroken, says their attorney. And their attorney's last name is Flannery. And let me read you guys an excerpt from this Yahoo piece because, it turns out, teacher didn't prop open the door. The teacher's attorney, by the name of last name Flannery, told ABC News that prior to the shooting, the teacher walked out of the door to retrieve food from a colleague outside, where she saw the gunman crash a gray Ford pickup truck, then exit the vehicle and head her way towards the school. She then sees him throw a bag over the fence and he has the weapon, the gun, around his chest. The teacher's attorney, last name Flannery, said that he hops the fence and starts running at her. The teacher's attorney also then said that the teacher, quote, immediately turns and runs inside, kicks the rock out and slams the door. Okay. But just days later, the claim was walked back. Texas Department of Public Safety Press Secretary Erica Miller, damn, they done ran Erica Miller out here after McGraw and my other guy just came out there and fucked it all up. They said, no, now we got to send a woman. The people who are the best cleaners, women go on out there, clean this up. Press Secretary Erica Miller confirmed to ABC News that investigators had determined that the teacher had closed the door, but the door failed to lock. DPS confirmed to ABC News. Okay, so they still trying to blame it on the teacher. Oh, okay. Oh, at first it was the teacher. No, first, school resource officer confronted Ramos and apparently did not engage Ramos because he thought he was wearing body armor. So both of those things have turned out to be false or walked back, depending on your perspective. Then it was, the teacher propped open the door, and that's how Ramos was able to just walk in unfettered and murder people. Well, turns out that too, a lie. A big giant lie. The teacher did not leave the door open. The teacher, in fact, closed the door. And now it's back to the door's fault. Now it's the door that the door didn't lock. And listening to dumbasses like Ted Cruz saying, there should be only one entrance and one exit out in and out of an elementary school full of hundreds of children where fires could happen, anything could happen. Yeah, just imagine how that one exit and entrance would look in a chaotic and life-threatening situation. These people are fucking idiots. So there's that. But that's not it. That's not it. And 40J Blaze is already in the chat telling it, right? Let's take a look at I guess this is going to be the next article. This is going to be the NPR piece. Because there's some shit that's being said, I think even unintentionally, that again, it's looking real funny in the light. Now, 40J Blaze said that the pigs ended up shooting some of these kids. And I think absolutely a case can be made for that. And the ways in which police behaved immediately, while tragically there were still bodies inside of the elementary school, some of this shit don't look right. A lot of this shit don't look right. Let me put it that way. I can't say some. None of this looks right. So, this piece is from NPR, and it says, an Uvalde coroner is haunted by identifying the bodies of children and an old friend. And it talks about the coroner in Uvalde, whom is also one of the justices of the peace. I mean, this is a very small town of about 15,000, and how this person was extremely traumatized, obviously, by the events at Robb Elementary School, but says that, he knows the majority of the families connected to the victims there, including one of the teachers who was his classmate. But what he said in this piece from NPR, I thought was pretty interesting. Now, listen to this, guys. So when they entered the school, he and the medical examiner, by the way, they had to ship him in from Bucksar County, out from San Antonio. They had to bring him in there because, Uvalde is small, does not have a medical examiner. So when the coroner and the medical examiner entered the school, they found that the first responders had moved the bodies, separating the deceased from the wounded in order to get to those who needed medical assistance. Quote, so when we got there were children in 4 rooms, the initial 2 rooms plus 2 other rooms, Mr. Diaz said, adding that they, quote, went room by room getting the plan together on what we were going to need to do to make sure that we could even identify everybody correctly. Now, that seems like a pretty somewhat innocuous statement, because he's just explaining like what he saw when he came in to survey the scene. Excuse me, but why are police moving bodies in a murder scene? I'm sorry, to be able to separate the deceased from the wounded, that doesn't really track. Because you're not supposed to move wounded or dead people, right? If there's supposed to be some sort of investigation, perhaps I watch too much Law and Order. That is possible. It's quite possible. But I know ballistics is a thing that they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be able to match all the bullets to every gun that was fired. And if the shooter is down in their elementary school, then it'll be very easy to ascertain which bullets came from his gun, right? But as 40J Blaze says, there's much speculation as to whether or not the police themselves ended up shooting and killing children, or killing some of the victims at Robb Elementary, which is completely possible. You know how it's possible? Because these cops are not, on top of them being pussyclot, right? They are incompetent, despite this training that they allegedly received specific to an active shooter incident at a school 2 months prior to this horrific tragedy happening. They managed to bumble, and as a result, people died. Children died, babies died, teachers died. Why are they moving bodies? And if you guys can remember, I think it was the first press conference, and this was not a clip that I played, but it's very easy to find if you're interested, but I'm pretty sure it was McGraw from Texas DPS in the first press conference who got up there and said that all the bullets that murdered people came from Ramos. And it's like, well, that's an interesting statement. What's the point of even putting that out there first? Before autopsies have been done, before ballistic evidence has been collected and analyzed. Like, how do you know that? How do you know that, Steve? And you know what my takeoff from that is? That Steve does not know that. Steve probably had a very good idea that his officers, in fact, may have murdered children. Bullets from guns from either federal agents, Uvalde police, Uvalde County sheriff's deputies, somebody wearing a uniform, or as Noli D said in the chat, clown costumes, somebody wearing that police clown costume more than likely ended up taking a life. We know for a fact, by and large, per the recounting of a survivor of the Robb Elementary Massacre, the clip that we watched, I believe this was Friday, from KENS Channel 5 in San Antonio, where they interviewed a very young survivor of this, and the child, out of their own mouth, said that the police called to the children from outside of the classroom and said, yell if you need help. And a child did as instructed by police, and Ramos allegedly came in and shot that child. We don't know whether or not that child actually survived. I would really love to know the answer to that. I really would. So I think it is important that we have to try to stay on the necks. And well, let me say this. We have to try to remain on the media's neck to make sure they remain on the Uvalde and Texas authorities' neck, to make sure that there has to be some sort of accountability here. Like, at minimum, people need to be fucking fired. Like, at minimum, at maximum, there needs to be some charges filed. And additionally, the Uvalde Police Department has to be disbanded. It has to be dissolved. And I don't know, and I'm certainly going to assume there are absolutely abolitionists in South Texas, and I need to find them and link up with them to see if that is on the table, because I think in the wake of this horrific tragedy, and for it to be so blatantly clear, crystal clear to everyone who can look at the situation and make some reasonable deductions, right? That the police failed their sole job. If they are there to protect public safety, you could not fuck that up worse than what happened at the elementary school. Like, that is the worst possible outcome, and they allowed it to happen. So I don't see how they could be allowed to survive as an entity, as an institution. I certainly can't see how they can justify sucking up 40% of the Uvalde city budget. Like, that can't be allowed to happen. So I'm hoping that out of this tragedy, that an opportunity could be seized by abolitionists to totally make the case to the people of Uvalde that the police don't keep you safe, and they do not deserve all of this money and all of these resources that they get. In fact, I think it's time to really, it sounds as though the police are extremely deep in the political interwebs there of Uvalde and in South Texas generally. I mean, we know Border Patrol has a very big presence. ICE has a very big presence. From what I understand, South Texas is very heavily policed. And I think it is at this particular time that a more broader case, a generalized case, a case to people who may not have even considered defunding the police or abolishing the police, but people who tragically are going to be radicalized by this massacre, and unfortunately, that's about the only bright side that I can take away from it. Like, I hope the bright side is there is accountability for the officers involved, and that people will be radicalized to abolish the police in Uvalde. Because that's it. Y'all had your shot. Y'all fucking blew it. There is no reason for you to exist any further. No more reason for that. Gang, let me do me a favor. Let me take a little pause for the cause. I want to thank everybody for coming in and stopping by. Thanks for stopping by. You guys know I am the Black Veronica Corningstone in my heart, aka Tits McGee, the one and only. It's me. I'm so happy to see you guys in here. Do me a favor, hit like on the video. Please hit subscribe to the channel. Let me sit up, correct my posture here for a moment. Follow us places around the internet at BIDWKB, Facebook, Instagram, the Ticka the Tucka, in the hip of the hopper, you don't stop. But also, don't forget, like and subscribe, follow Black Power Media. Yes, we've been having a really good time on the Remix Morning Show. I'm not going to even hold y'all. Like, it's been a good time. Especially these past couple weeks, and I can't even give you an answer as to why we've had so much. We've really been. Let me not say we. I'm over here speaking a lot of French. Let me not say we. Me. I have been having a good time. I really enjoy building with my comrades. And I think that we do a good job, if I could toot up the Remix Morning Show here real quick. I mean, we do bring a good mix of the news and humor, and we crack on each other, and we're old, and it's a lot of Gen Xing going on. So shout out to all the comrades over there at Black Power Media. Don't forget to subscribe. And while I'm shouting out other people to subscribe to, please go subscribe to the Say Your Mind podcast, Kalichi Okafor. Let me say it the way Kalichi says her name. God damn it, my tongue has been colonized. I can't even say African names the proper way. It's Okafor, Kalichi Okafor. Fucking America that fucked up my pronunciation of names from the continent. Kalichi Okafor, Say Your Mind podcast. Kalichi is brilliant out here. She is so fucking funny. And just really, I've been listening. I don't binge listen to podcasts ever. I mean, ever, never. I mean, I might listen to like a true crime joint hither and thither. I don't binge listening to nobody's fucking podcast. I have listened to 6 months straight of Kalichi's podcast. So, let me recommend, please, because if you like me, you will love her. She is the fucking truth out here. So let's get to it, y'all. So this case, this defamation case between actors Johnny Depp and Amber Heard is something that I was intentionally not paying attention to for a variety of reasons. Because this trial has been going on for 6 weeks. And I think, when did Johnny initially bring this lawsuit? I want to say it's been a couple of years. It's been 2 or 3 years, maybe 2019, somewhere in there. Maybe longer than that. Maybe it was 2017. Maybe you guys know better than I. Regardless, I was not paying attention to it because I felt it was a very big distraction, right? I thought this was the Hollywood scandal with Hollywood players that can distract us for the fact that the United States is sending arms to Nazis in the Ukraine by the billions, to distract us from the fact that police violence continues unfettered in the U.S. and Biden wants to send the police billions. Like, I felt it was though, like this is what the Hollywood Illuminati rules through your body, all like a 12-gauge shotty. That's what I thought, like, oh, this is the Hollywood Illuminati, the distraction thing for us to look at while, the other thing is happening. Oh, look at Johnny and Amber. Oh, but there's nuclear war happening. You understand what I'm saying? So I intentionally not looked at it. And because it was happening local to the DC area, it was happening in a Fairfax County courtroom, which is Northern Virginia. Our local news, I do watch local news for good or for bad. They was out there every day. Channel 5 had my man Bob Barnard. They said Bob Barnard's ass out there to the courtroom. He out there 5 o'clock in the morning, line wrapped around the courthouse, yo. And he's talking to people. He's like, yeah, so how long you been out here? Oh, we've been out here since 11 o'clock last night. Oh, we got here at 1 o'clock this morning. They had one morning out there where a woman was there with a newborn baby outside waiting in line to get her wristband so she could go drool over Johnny Depp in person. I mean, it was a level of celebrity fandom that I was just kind of repulsed by. I was like, ew, because I hadn't made a decision, or rather had an opinion about guilt or innocence or whether or not Amber had defamed Johnny or not. I have been a fan up until recently of Johnny Depp. Lifetime fan, y'all. I am 44 years old, okay? I was watching 21 Jump Street with interest, okay? Like when 21 Jump Street was coming on Fox prime time back in, what was that, 89, 90? Oh my goodness, Johnny Depp. Absolutely a hot piece of ass. In Nightmare on Elm Street, again, hot piece of ass. Donnie Brasco, hot piece of ass. What else was Johnny Depp a hot piece of ass? Blow, he was a hot piece of ass. Hot piece of ass, no doubt. Johnny Depp been cute out here for a long time, up until recently, because that cuteness evaporated. But that's what happens when you out here living foul. But I digress. So I didn't have anything against Johnny Depp. I did not know who Amber Heard was. I didn't even realize that was her in Aquaman until this all came about. Like, I wasn't familiar with her work as an actress or any of that. But now that we have this verdict in which Johnny Depp is seemingly victorious, I think out of the $50 million he had sued Amber Heard in defamation, he got 10, or was awarded 10 million, and her counterclaim of $100 million lawsuit, she was awarded $2 million. But in the end, it came but it came through that the jury felt as though that Amber did defame him in her 2018 op-ed in the Washington Post, where she talked about being a survivor of domestic violence. And even though she'd never named Johnny Depp, and to me, that was always, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, nor do I play one on the internet, but it's like, if I don't name, if you have not been named, how can I defame if no one has been named? You understand? And Amber Heard, and I'm not sure if her attorneys made this argument or not, like, if she had experienced abuse in a different relationship at the hands of somebody else, she can't talk about that. She can't talk about her experience and perspective as a survivor of domestic violence, even if it wasn't at the hands of Johnny Depp. You understand? Like, I can't even say I was abused, because if the dude who actually hit me, or one of the dudes who actually hit me, if he think it's him, what, he gonna sue me? Because I came out and said I was an abuse survivor, a hit dog hollering. I want you guys to take a listen to Amber's attorney. She was on CBS Mornings. Elaine Bradenhoft. I'm sorry, Elaine. Elaine Bradenhoft spoke with Gayle King. And I don't watch CBS Mornings, but it was a couple men's on there trying to interrupt Gayle King and attorney Bradenhoft. And I'm like, fellas, be quieter. the women are talking. Let's look at this clip from Elaine Bradenhoft, attorney for Amber Heard, and getting her take, because apparently Amber intends to appeal, which I think she should. But I think what Ms. Bradenhoft presents here is worth listening to. So let's take a look at that, please.
This seems to be a huge victory for Johnny Depp this morning.
Yeah, a major setback for women, for women inside the courtroom and outside the courtroom.
Because?
Because basically what this said, Amber had an enormous amount of evidence, although a lot of it was suppressed in this case as opposed to the UK. But look at all the women who have no evidence, all these women who suffer from domestic violence, domestic abuse. They don't have evidence. And basically what this jury said is, unless you pull out your cell phone and you tape record your spouse beating you, you're out of luck.
But Elaine, I think it was bigger than that, because you had the evidence, as you say, but they did not believe her. Why do you think they did not believe her?
I think that a lot of that was that it was Johnny Depp. I think the celebrity status.
But she's a celebrity too.
And it's not only not believing her.
But she's a celebrity too.
Right.
But you have to remember, it's a tale of two trials. All the evidence came in the UK. Mr. Depp brought that one. The burden of proof was on the son in the UK, because they had called him a wife beater and talked about the domestic violence. He had his opportunity to tell the truth then. And a 3-week trial, he lost. The judge found 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence. And that came out November 2, 2020. We weren't allowed to tell the jury that.
But Elaine, for most people watching this trial, and a lot of people, as you know, it got huge views, it just seemed to be so messy and salacious and so tawdry on both sides. And I think for a lot of people from the outside looking in thought both of them were not telling the truth, and that they mutually abused each other. Do you not believe that that was the case?
No, and that's one of the many misnomers. The way that Depp's team approached this was based on ignorance of domestic violence. It completely ignored the cycle of violence and just said, oh, she wouldn't have done this if he had been hitting her. That was their approach.
So you thought that they weren't fighting fair?
Correct. I don't think they were fighting fair.
And you think Amber Heard is, in fact, a survivor of domestic violence?
Yes, I absolutely believe that. And there's a tremendous amount of evidence, much of which did not come into this trial, did come into the UK trial. We even had more evidence. We had medical records. We had mental health records that went back to 2012 that were contemporaneous. We had text messages from Mr. Depp's assistant saying, when I told him that he had kicked you, he cried.
So how is she today, Elaine? How is she today? What is her next move?
She's right. Well, her next move is appeal. There were
But she's heartbroken.
She is heartbroken. And one of the first things that she said when she came back from the verdict, when we went into the conference room, was, I am so sorry to all these women.
There was a lot there to unpack, and you guys are doing a lot in the chat. Thank you, Kayla Marie, for your super chat support. And Kayla said that on the stand, Amber did say that the op-ed was about Johnnie, despite the fact that he had not been named. So there's a few different ways to look at this. So let's start with the obvious, right? This is first and foremostly a loss for Amber Heard as a woman. I don't think that Amber was lying, because I've seen some threads, and again, I'm going to be very honest here, that I've seen threads on Twitter, right? I have not dug deep into the evidence, but the threads that I did see, where there was pictures, there was videos of Amber obviously having sustained injuries. From what I understand, Amber had shared details of these injuries with people. Like, she did basically what we tell survivors and those experiencing domestic violence to do. Document the shit, right? Take pictures, take video. We are in a cell phone era. Everybody's phone takes amazing video and pictures. And it seems that Amber did that. It seems that Amber not only documented and maintained evidence of what happened to her, but she did it in different mediums, in different forms, in the form of, text messages and emails and conversations that she had with her friends and family, in addition to the photos and the videos. So I don't doubt that Amber Heard was abused by Johnny Depp, because if you look at his past, and I'm talking about going back again, where are my old bitches at? Y'all, I mean, if y'all remember, if y'all remember, Johnny Depp used to get into a lot of fucking trouble. He used to tear up hotel rooms. He would be charged with, random shit from reckless endangerment and disorderly conduct. And I even believe there are prior accusations or outright charges of domestic violence on Johnny Depp, right? Like, Johnny Depp ain't been no prince. he hasn't been no Boy Scout out here, but we all know how that goes. Johnny Depp, Mel Gibson, the list is very long of very problematic, successful white men in Hollywood who are allowed to get away with a lot of shit without any sort of consequence, right? And these men have been allowed to behave very badly for decades and be very harmful to a lot of people for a very long time. So I'm not buying that Johnny Depp was out here as an altar boy. Like, nope, no, you can't sell me on that. I'm a little too old to be buying that, right? But what this does do, specifically in the realm of Hollywood, which has experienced the majority of the Me Too repercussions, right? Cosby, Weinstein, the list goes on. Like, Me Too came for Hollywood first and foremostly. And so what I think is that this verdict and the PR smearing of Amber, even though I think you guys, some of y'all are in the chat righteously saying that perhaps her legal representation wasn't up to snuff. and I know that as the attorney mentioned there, that there were things in the UK trial where Johnny Depp lost his defamation trial against, was it the Sun newspaper? Because they called him a wife beater. And they were able to prove that, yes, no, motherfucker, there's documentation here that, yes, you did beat your wife at some point. So that's a case that you lose. And that case was ruled on by a judge. This case in Fairfax County was ruled on by a jury. I think this is coming for Hollywood first. I think this is here to tell all the women who had the bravery and the tenacity to stand up against things like the casting couch, right? Having to give up your body in some sort of sexual favor in order to secure roles or parts like that. Like, I think that the power players and those who really run Hollywood, they want them days back. They said, no. Y'all don't understand. When we got to coerce these hot A-list actresses out of sex because they wanted certain roles, no, those are the good old days. We got to get them days back. We got to get them days back, because if these bitches come out here, keep talking about what we've done to them and the ways that we've abused them and mistreated them, that's bad. That's bad for us, right? We don't want Harvey in jail. We need Harvey out of jail, right? This is their perspective, right? So they just can't have it be that women in this industry have autonomy over their stories and come out and say what happened to them, regardless if whether or not they elect to go press charges or even do anything like that, trying to seek some sort of civil recompense. Regardless, this is meant to silence them from saying anything at all, period, point blank. Don't tweet about the shit. Don't blog about the shit. If you were abused by someone of prominence, a man of means, someone who has power and influence, you better keep that shit to yourself, because them defamation suits are coming. Those defamation suits are coming. And again, that's specific, I think, to Hollywood as an industry. And if I was a Hollywood actress, I would feel like this could be, this absolutely, or someone who worked out there in the business, I would think this could actually have a chilling effect, because it was going bad for men who were behaving badly and doing inappropriate things sexually. Now I think we're probably going to see a shift in that. So now, and some people have even said, so again, I think Me Too is about to be, Me Too? No, not Me Too. No, I was just playing. We are about to not be hearing about a lot of different serial abusers and predators in Hollywood. People are going to stop speaking out, or we're going to see, as they call them in the blogs, a lot of blind items where it's going to trickle. It's going to be a trickle of rumor and innuendo about a particular individual until, tragically, that person ends up either really hurting somebody or, God forbid, even killing them, right? When I heard about all this story with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp and the extent of the abuse that she described, the first person that came to my mind was Nicole Brown Simpson, right? OJ was fucking her up on a regular basis. And like Amber, it seemed as though Nicole was doing her due diligence and documenting the shit, taking out, whatever sort of legal protective means that she needed to, trying to, separate herself from OJ. And what did OJ do? And then it was all the sympathy for Nicole Brown Simpson after she was dead, right? Like, oh my God, like, look what all she endured. You see the pictures of her, black eyes, bruised face. Like, oh my God, she was tortured. Well, where was all this when she was alive? And that's what scares me. I feel as though a woman is probably going to have to die at the hands of her abuser, her Hollywood abuser, her influencer, powerful person in the business, before these types of things will be taken seriously again. And I'm not sure how this really extrapolates into the broader public, because I feel as though women, or basically survivors of domestic violence and even sexual assault, we are not very likely to come forward and report the shit regardless. Why? Y'all know why? Because the police don't keep us safe. Period, point blank. Police don't keep us safe. What the fuck is the police going to do to stop this nigga from whipping my ass? Not a fucking thing. Because if he wants to come over here and get me, he will. He will. Right? And if the police are involved, that could actually make the situation much more worse. Lucretia, thank you so much for your super chat, darling. Lucretia says that we need an overhaul on the way that we approach intimate partner violence. The first thing we need to do, Lucretia, is get some of these goofy women out of the mind state of this pick-meism, yo. Like the amount of women that had all the smoke for Amber, called Amber a liar. Amber's this, honey. I hope you never find yourself on the receiving end of a man's open hand or his closed fist or his unwanted penis. Like, I need women to cut that goofy shit out. Like, you do women as a whole a tremendous disservice when you cape for a very obviously problematic man. Let's even play the game. Let's say you don't believe Amber. You gotta believe that Johnnie is fucked up out here, right? Like, I have had experiences with alcoholics and people with drug problems. They're not pleasant people, okay? I don't know if you were aware of this or not, but a man at Johnny Depp's age, 56, this motherfucker's been an alcoholic for a very long time. He's a long-time drug abuser. I assure you, those people do not have a very good grasp of their emotions. They are quite impulsive. They can be violent. Okay, even if you don't believe Amber, I'm sorry, you think Johnny Depp has been a contrite and calm, raging alcoholic and drug abuser for 30 years? You a little bit naive out here in the world, baby girl. You got to get you a little bit more experience. And if you have had the pleasure of never encountering an abusive man, baby, you need to run them Powerball numbers tonight. You need to run them Powerball numbers tonight. Because I assure you, you be out here long enough, that luck will run out. But I think it's extremely shitty of Johnny Depp to be out here partying. I think it was extremely shitty of Johnny Depp to even bring this lawsuit in the first place. And I think more news outlets should be quite appalled at the outcome of this jury's decision, because this was something that was posted in the Washington Post. This was an opinion piece. This was not a news story per se. This was a person of note, Amber Heard, writing a personal opinion piece about her experience, and she just happened to recently be tied to another much more famous person, much more powerful person, much more well-known, well-compensated person with a lot more influence and connections, Johnny Depp. News outlets should be really horrified by this. This is a free speech issue as well. So I guess all of us, like, are we, if you have experienced abuse, are you allowed to say anything? Are you allowed to say anything? I one day fantasized truly about naming my abusers. I'm with them shits, niggas. so if you got some skeletons in your closet concerning Kim Brown, I would be concerned if I was you. Because them names going to get dropped one day. So you might have to get your lawyer money ready to sue. And sue me, because I would get on the stand and tell it all, my G's. Tell it all. Tell everything. Guys, let me take a quick break. I want to thank you all so much for rocking with us right now. Courtney and Latif, I love you guys for modding us pretty strong. Please do us a favor and like the video and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for stopping by. In addition, guys, to this, I can't call it a travesty of justice. I just think it's very fucked up. I think it's fucked up. The responses that have come from some of Johnny Depp's fans that have been overwhelmingly women. And again, I ain't no Johnny Depp. Well, as I wasn't. I am now that I'm more privy to some of the details of how Johnny gets down. But again, Johnny Depp, hot piece of ass, long time fan of Johnny Depp. So this is not me being a hater of Johnny Depp and Johnny Depp this. No, I was a fan until recently. Let me put it that way. Because I can't knowingly rock with abusers. To the extent that Amber is being truthful, I'm not quite certain, but I believe that she was abused, and I I do believe that he hit her and did physical bad things to her. And from what I understand, she had to recount the details of his alleged sexual assault against her, from which I think Gayle King said in the CBS interview that this was the first time in American history that an abuser of sexual assault actually had to testify in court on television about their assault. So there's a lot of dehumanizing elements to this trial. And Amber is a white, blonde, straight, I'm assuming Christian, I'm assuming woman. Like, if anybody was going to get sympathy out of this, it was going to be her, right? And conversely, my brain went back to when, was it Russell Crowe allegedly spat in the face of Azalea Banks, and motherfuckers went, "Oh, you don't say," right? Like nobody rode for Azalea. And I know Azalea is problematic as shit, which maybe makes her an interesting comparison to Amber Heard, because as Amber said, that she is not a perfect victim, and it's shameful that women have to present as perfect. You can't be an angry person. You can't if someone gets physical with you, you can't get physical with them back, because then that makes it mutual abuse. Fuck that shit. I don't subscribe to that shit at all. That's called self-defense. Don't put your hands on me. I will not put my hands on you. But if I'm putting my hands on you in response to you putting your hands on me, that does not mean that we were mutually abusing each other. Nope. I do not subscribe to that. But back to Amber Heard and sort of Azalea Banks here. And I wanted to bring in Megan Thee Stallion. I'm going to be very quick because I do want to move on here. But the ways in which women are grossly disbelieved when they actually come forward, right, and discuss that they have been abused or harmed or some way. Megan Thee Stallion has been received so fucking horrifically by her peers and by younger rap fans, I suppose. Like, the fact that, if you're not familiar, I'm sure you guys are, but if in case you aren't, Megan Thee Stallion, a lovely rapping young lady. I'm really a fan of Megan Thee Stallion. I love Megan's music. Megan was allegedly shot in the foot by rapper Tory Lanez, and Tory Lanez has been denying that he shot Megan. And Megan has come forward publicly on a number of times to detail what happened to her that night. And there is still a lot of disbelief and skepticism about her accounting of the incident. And I do believe that this is actually going to go to court. So there is going to be a trial. But again, trials don't necessarily get to the truth. They don't necessarily get to the truth. Anna Hart, thank you so much, baby. Anna says, around the fire. Yes, our Fire Fam support group is going to happen Monday after next on June 13th. Sorry, I'm not around much, but sending love. Thank you, Anna. Yes. I will remind the good people about that towards the end of the show. But basically, when it comes to abuse, rape, domestic violence, nobody believes women. Women don't even believe women, which tells me we have a very long way to go. We have a very long way to go. And if you look at the statistics behind both domestic violence and sexual assault, do some people lie about these things? Yes, they do. But that is a very small percentage compared to the overwhelming majority of those who have, I suppose, some faith in the justice system. I do not, but some people do have faith in the justice system, and they go and they tell what happened to them. And oftentimes they could be misbelieved by the police as well. So it is a very dark day for women, I think, generally, when we see the public response, the jury notwithstanding, because I think even if the jury had ruled or found against Johnny Depp and found totally in favor of Amber Heard, I think we would still see this exact same response coming from, unfortunately, from what I can gather, overwhelmingly the female aspect, or the women who are part of Johnny Depp's fandom. It's like, oh man, like, I understand that's your baby, but if he's out here beating people, which he has a documented history of doing prior to marrying Amber Heard, then you can't. Why are we caping for abusers? Why are we caping for Mel Gibsons? Why are we caping for Ike Turners? Like, why do we do that as women? Don't do that. Moving along. So back to America, where shit is violent every day. And the tragedy in Uvalde was a bad reminder of how frequent some of these mass shootings and mass casualty events happen. I mean, they just happen very often here. If you could pop up C1 for me, Tunde. And this was starting to make the rounds on social media again. And it's from Amnesty International. And this is actually not a recent post, pardon me, but one that they posted back in 2019, where they posted a travel advisory to the United States. If you intend to travel to the U.S., I'm not reading this verbatim, but the gist of it is that there is a gun violence epidemic in the U.S., and gun violence is random, it is sporadic, it can erupt at any time. And if you plan on traveling to the U.S. as foreign travelers, you need to be aware of these risks. Risks that we as Americans live with every day because our country moves mad. the country just moves so mad. And if you could go to, we're going to get C2 ready. So far in the year 2022, there have been about 200 mass shootings in the U.S. in 6 months' time. 200 mass shootings in the U.S. in 6 months' time. Since Uvalde, there have been 20 mass shootings. And for clarification, mass shootings are defined as gun violence incidents where there are 4 or more victims. The victims can all be alive. Nobody has to die. But if 4 people got shot, 4 or more, that is a mass shooting. So we have had mass shootings across the U.S. in the most just heartbreaking of places. There was a shooting, was it this morning or was it yesterday in Ames, Iowa, outside of a church, where I believe a man shot 2 women and then killed himself. The shooting that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma is, I think, one that's been getting a lot of people's attention. And I want us to take a look. It's going to be C2 Tunde. So who are we going to hear from right now? This is going to be the Tulsa Chief of Police updating the public after the shooting at St. Francis Hospital. You guys know this, maybe I've shared this with you, but I used to live in Tulsa. I could not remember where I had gone to the hospital, but once they said the location of the hospital of St. Francis at 61st and Yale, that's down in South Midtown to South Tulsa, where I did used to live. I used to live at 61st and Memorial. The radio station I worked at was at 81st and Yale. So I'm very familiar with this area in Tulsa, or in and around St. Francis Hospital. So let's take a look at the video and what the police chief had to say when he was updating the public about this mass shooting in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's take a look.
On May 19th, Michael Lewis went into the hospital for a back surgery. The performing physician was Dr. Preston Phillips. Mr. Lewis was released on 5/24, May the 24th. After release, Lewis called several times over several days, complaining of pain and wanted additional treatment. On May 31st, Dr. Phillips saw Mr. Lewis again for additional treatment. Yesterday, June the 1st, Lewis called Dr. Phillips' office again, complaining of back pain and wanting additional assistance. Now, we know through the help of our ATF and their gun tracing that at 2 p.m. on June the 1st, Mr. Lewis purchased a semi-automatic rifle from a local gun store. That semi-automatic rifle was an AR-15 style rifle. We know that Mr. Lewis purchased a semi-automatic handgun, a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson pistol, on May the 29th from a local pawn shop. I now want to go into the shooting timeline. At 4:52 p.m. on June the 1st, a third party who was on a video chat off location with an on-location doctor called 911, saying the doctor told her to call 911, saying there has been a shooting.
So the shooter, named as Michael Lewis, 45 years old, originally of New Jersey and now a resident of Tulsa, as you heard, had back surgery from Dr. Phillips, who apparently was a very well-respected member of the community, which I'm sure, you know, most doctors maybe would be. So, but for Mr. Lewis, like the police chief just said there, to apparently be in such excruciating pain. And there's been some speculation as to whether or not that Mr. Lewis was reacting. And again, let me just say very clearly for the record, I do not condone. I do not condone what was done in Tulsa at all. You know, do not bring the fight to people who are not expecting the fight, right? That's cowardly shit. And dog, you got to go to another doctor. Like there are other solutions. But my point is, I believe that Mr. Lewis was in excruciating pain. The Daily Beast spoke with some of his family members. I think they even said that he was of Haitian background originally, because I think his name is Michelet Louis. But you know, he Americanized it for the mandem, which is, you know, that's what happens. But anyway, but for any reason in the U.S., anywhere, somebody can feel so aggrieved that they walk in and start shooting. And the other part about this is that, again, so speculating that Mr. Lewis was in excruciating pain, and perhaps, as we know, in the medical field generally, Black people's pain is not taken as seriously as white people's pain, which is why the opioid crisis per se, when it comes to, you know, prescription opioids, did not hit the Black community like it hit the white community, for the simple fact that doctors were not prescribing Black people pain medication to the extent that they were prescribing it for whites. And it's very well known, a part of medical racism, the ways that racism presents itself in the medical field, is that Black people are expected to endure pain, and that somehow we innately can endure more pain. Therefore, we get prescribed pain medicine at a lower rate. I'm not sure if that was the case with Mr. Lewis, but clearly he felt as though he could not go on. He could not continue. And the fact that it was easier for him to buy weapons, to buy an AR-15 style rifle, and I believe a handgun. The handgun, I think he bought days before the actual attack. The AR-15, he bought the day of. In the state of Oklahoma, there is no waiting period, right? You got a gun, you got your money, you got your ID right, go on in there. Go and get you anything, anything you can get your hands on. And that is underscoring part of the fundamental fucked upness of this country, that it is easier to get your hands on guns than it is to get access to proper medical care. Like, healthcare is hard to get. Guns are easy to get. So we can't be surprised at all that people are out here bucking free. And I want us to just give you an example. So, everybody heard about the shooting in Tulsa where 4 people were killed. Well, 3 people killed. The shooter, May the 4th. There was another hospital shooting on the same day as the Tulsa shooting. And because shootings in schools, in hospitals, in churches, in America is so common, chances are you didn't even hear about this other shooting that happened at a hospital. This happened in Dayton, Ohio, at the Miami Valley Hospital Center. And I want us to take a listen really quick, because there's a lot of fucked up things about this shooting as well, where 2 people were killed. But listen closely to what I don't think his title is the Dayton police chief. I think he has a different title. But, you know, pig is pig, right? Like, I mean, sure, the pigs have names, but I don't need to know, and y'all probably don't even care really what the piggy name is. But just know he was the person designated from the Dayton Police Department to talk about this incident that happened at the Miami Valley Hospital. So listen to this press conference, and I loathe to even call it a press conference because it's like, 3 reporters asking this one cop questions, but listen to the answers. Listen to the answers. Let's check this out.
We believe only one shot was fired in the hospital. Our victim was struck in the back of the neck with 1 round. He was also, clearly there was a large struggle that took place in this room. He had several skull fractures, wounds to both the front and back of his head, and he had some lacerations to his fist where he was fighting back. Our victim is a 78-year-old male. He's also a veteran who served his country in the United States Marine Corps, and really another senseless tragedy that occurred there.
Do you know how long the security guard had been working for?
I don't know exactly how long he's been employed with Merchant Security, but I know he is like their go-to guard. I guess he works a lot to support his family, and he's used a lot for security like this.
What part of the hospital was the inmate in? Was this like an open ER room, or do they usually transfer inmates to? He
was in a private room in the emergency room. Talking, we're still trying to figure things out because really we have no actual witnesses to the shooting. We do know from a nurse that 30 minutes before this happened, he was handcuffed and secured. There was a handcuff on the actual bed rail, and there were leg shackles on the floor that had been taken off, and there was a handcuff key in the leg shackles. I don't know if we'll ever really know. Was he handcuffed when this happened or how this all happened? Because there was no one there.
You just don't know whether the security guard uncuffed him or if he kind of uncuffed himself.
We don't know, and we may never know.
Yeah, did you guys hear about that shooting at this Miami Valley Hospital in or near Dayton, Ohio, where the 78-year-old security guard tasked with guarding an inmate? I'm sorry, what? Why is this man 78 years old and still working security? And you heard the cop say, this guy works a lot. Why does he work a lot? He's 78 years old. Why do y'all have him guarding the inmate? Why do y'all have him guarding the inmate? And people who are very much opposed to guns in this instance made a very astute observation that truly, if the gun was not present at all, then both of these people would actually be alive. The gun, the availability of the gun on the hip of the 78-year-old security guard, whom the inmate was. How was he able to take the gun from the almost 80-year-old man? I don't know. I'm sure it didn't take a lot. But the inmate, as you heard, murdered the guard and then allegedly murdered himself. So again, so many shootings in so many soft targets across the country is hard to keep up. But the lawmakers of Ohio are seemingly coming up with a solution. If we could pop up C5 there, Tunde. This seems to be a thing. This is happening. So this is from ABC News, and the headline reads, some Ohio teachers, quote, terrified over new bill allowing educators to carry guns in school. And from the article, it describes how the Ohio state legislature has actually gone ahead and passed this bill. Let me read this to you guys. Hold on. Teachers in Ohio are frustrated after lawmakers passed a bill Wednesday that would allow them and other school staff to carry guns in school safety zones with very little training. The bill overrules an Ohio Supreme Court decision from last year that required that teachers receive gun training equivalent to the training police officers receive. Now, if signed into law by the governor, it would create a minimum training commitment of only 24 hours for teachers who voluntarily choose to carry guns in school. I am terrified for non-white students in the state of Ohio if their teachers are allowed to carry guns in school. But let me play a clip from an Ohio state senator. He's a white man, so I didn't bother to learn his name because let me frame that better. He's a terrible white man. Of course, I know the names of our wonderful white men who watch us here on the show. I know all your names. Schultz, David Solberg. I know all y'all. But this white man is terrible, so I did not bother to learn Mr. Terrible's name. But this clip was posted from Tyler Buchanan from Axios Media. And it is on the floor of the Ohio State Senate where they were debating this bill, which, by the way, has passed and is just awaiting Governor Mike DeWine's signature. But listen to the logic, or rather the ill logic. Check it out.
This bill very specifically does something to protect our kids. It establishes an organization in the state of Ohio to provide proper training. As far as that training limit's concerned, the school board is not constrained by that number. They can do as much training or require as much training as they want, and then the new board, the new team, the mobile training team, can approve it or disapprove it, thumbs up or thumbs down. I agree with the Chairman Hoagland, that this puts the onus on the state of Ohio to finally do something. I am steadfast in favor of this bill and making our kids safer in the state of Ohio.
You know what happens when America does something? It usually does something fucking stupid. It usually does something really fucking stupid. And not only am I fearful for non-white students, black and brown students in Ohio who will soon be attending classes in schools where their teachers can voluntarily bring guns to school. How's that going to work? What's that going to look like? But God forbid that there is an active shooter situation in an Ohio school, and it is a black teacher with a gun, right? Who do you think the police is going to shoot at when they come in trying to take down the shooter? They're going to see the little white boy with the AR-15 and see the black teacher with a pistol and be like, it must be them. Like, there's the assailant right there. Take him down, Charlie. Terrible fucking idea. Shout out to Nawadi, a.k.a. Obi. Thank you so much for your super chat. Nawadi says that we cannot decouple violence, this violence, from the violence the U.S. inflicts overseas. 100% Nawadi. I mean, in a way, like I said on my last show, that this is what we experience here in terms of gun violence in U.S. is a tiny bit of that chickens coming home to roost that Malcolm talked about after Kennedy's assassination. I mean, the violence that we perpetuate overseas is the violence that we inevitably experience here on our own soil. On our stolen soil, let me put it that way. Before we finna get out of here, y'all, a couple of things. So further illuminating the prevalence of gun violence in the United States. And I'm not going to do too many of these shows, guys, because it bothers me. It really does. It really does. And sometimes I have to, what's the word? Disassociate myself, or there's another word for it. I'll come back to that word. But I can't sit there and process all the shit, because I will be sitting here pulling my hair out, sobbing and sitting on the floor, rocking back and forth like, but so something that happened horrific yesterday, and I'm sorry to be the bearer of horrific news. It's going to be C7 there, Tunde. So, you know, in addition to hospitals being shot up this week in the U.S., in addition to schools being shot up, to churches being shot up, they shot up a funeral yesterday in Racine, Wisconsin. And the person whose funeral it was a man by the name of Deshante King. Deshante King last month in May had been murdered by Racine police. And since Deshante's murder, Racine police, number one, refused to say what Deshante did to get murdered besides run, right? They not released any body cam. And now Deshante has had his homegoing service sullied and some of his people attending his funeral were obviously injured. But I want us to take a look at what happened with DeShante very quickly when he was murdered by police. So what we're going to do is check out C7 there. And let me be clear, this is not a great clip. And the news outlet who reported this clip and posted this clip to their own YouTube page, WISN 12 News. Oh, this is sloppy. Anyway, I'm going to show y'all, and y'all going to see how sloppy it is. But I wanted to just give y'all an example about these media outlets, because they don't always be reporting the news in the best way. Let's take a look at this.
Said they saw he had a gun.
The armed man refused all commands and took an action that resulted in a pursuing officer discharging his service weapon.
I don't know what he did or what movement that he may have made to make them initiate shooting.
Police would not say.
I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat and act like he is a completely innocent person and that he's never done any wrong, because he had, but that's not all that he was. He was so much more than the things that he's done.
Family says they're not surprised he ran from police and that he's done it many times in the past.
Do you think the police should have been better prepared for that possibility?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, y'all have experienced arresting and dealing with this man for the better half of his life, majority of his life.
In Racine, Courtney Sisk, WISN 12 News.
Police would not answer reporter questions. The officer involved is on administrative duty tonight.
Yep, police still have not answered questions almost a month later. They have still not answered any questions. They have not even said what DeShante did. They said he made a move that made the officer want to shoot him. And it's like, well, but you said that he was running away, right? So again, we don't know where in his body DeShante was shot. All we know is that this 38-year-old, I believe, father of three, is now a victim of police violence himself. But then the violence came to his funeral. It obviously is going to be C8 there, Tunde. And this is kind of fucked up really quick. And I'm assuming that was his sister, because as you saw in the clip, they did not name her. They didn't say who she was, didn't give her name. And when I was searching for more information about this story, I came across an independent journalist outlet on YouTube called, I think, The Family Soup TV, where they attended the balloon release for DeShante. It was horrible. You could just hear his kids crying, and the same woman spoke. So I'm assuming she looked too young to be his mom. So I'm guessing that was his sister. Anyway, when she said that he wasn't perfect, I'm like, how come Al Sharpton and Ben Crump ain't in Racine standing with his family? And I went on the Wisconsin court case search website. Maryland has one similar. I don't know what your state has, but if you know the person's name, you can go look up their experiences in the court system, right? Let me say that. And I'm not going to front. DeShante had like 2 pages worth of shit, and I didn't look at the second page, and I should have. But everything I clicked on the first page, and when I say I probably clicked on at least 15 to 18 of his cases up there. And I didn't see anything violent. I saw a bunch of moving violations. I saw driving without insurance. I saw driving with the open container. I saw driving on suspended license. He did have one restraining order in there, but it didn't indicate that he had been violent. And we know sometimes that restraining order game can get a little funny depending on the parties involved. But what I said that to say, I hope that the reason the respectables of the civil rights era people, civil rights stand with the families or whatever, how come y'all not standing with this family? Why? Because this man has a lengthy record? That's not sufficient. He was still murdered by police, and police are not giving the family any answers. But let's take a look at, again, how it wouldn't shock me if it was the fucking cops who came out to DeShante's funeral and started blamming out there in Racine. Let's take a look at C8 there, y'all. Check this out.
There were shots fired at the funeral of DeShante King. Family members tell us 5 people at the funeral were struck by gunfire. We're working to learn more about their conditions right now. Bruce Harrison live on the scene, the ground there, to tell us what it looks like in the area. Bruce, good afternoon.
Tom, I'm standing at Graceland Funeral Cemetery right now where the shooting took place, and it's very clear where the family was gathered. If you look back here, you can see a red tent or awning over the site of Deshante King's burial this afternoon, the event which was disrupted by a shooting that, according to Racine Police, happened just before 2:30 this afternoon. We're still trying to learn exactly how many people were injured. Family tell us 5, but they were unable to tell us to what extent those people were injured. I'm in constant contact with Racine Police as well. Their PIO just has told me they were uncertain also.
Yes, so the latest I saw is that it was actually 2 people confirmed to be injured. I don't think anybody died. But guys, just to give another illumination, another point to the depravity of the country and the society in which we inhabit. People's funerals get shot up. People get killed at hospitals. People get killed at elementary schools. Children get killed at elementary schools. And what are we going to do here? Zainab, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you. I see Zainab Day in the chat. I'm so glad that you were here, Zainab. Zainab is on the women's empowerment, the women of color empowerment panels that we do with Savvy Sav. So I'm happy to see you in here, Zainab. Thank you so much for stopping by. But like this is a sickness. This is a sickness. In America, we are obsessed with blood. We are obsessed with violence. And Comrade Kwame, I saw you in the chat as well. You know, motherfuckers want to pop all the shit about China and Cuba. Bitch, they don't fucking shoot up the elementary school in China. It does not happen. They don't blam in the hospitals, plural, in the same day in Cuba. It just doesn't happen. But most Americans have been so warped, like our whole frame of mind. And you guys know, because I'm in the same process. I am steadily every single day unlearning the colonial fuckery that has been imposed on my brain since I've been able to absorb information, right? Like we are all programmed to accept this level of violence, that this level of violence is normal, and that capitalism is going capitalism, and we somehow have to adjust and recalibrate the way that we as humans know that we are supposed to be living in order to fit this bloodthirsty capitalist framework. Like we understand that the ways in which you prevent gun violence is to, number one, stop making new guns. Stop making new fucking guns. We've got 400 million guns. I think we're good, okay? We don't need to make no new guns. I don't expect people to come up off their guns, but I think we should stop making new ones. I think we should stop making new ones because we're tapped out. We're at a max. We're at a critical mass here of fucking guns. And capitalism in America is not willing to do that. That shit doesn't even get suggested. It doesn't even get proposed, right? Chris Murphy in the Senate and all these motherfuckers is like, oh, we're working so hard on background checks, Background checks was not going to stop Salvatore Ramos. It was not going to stop Peyton, the Buffalo top supermarket shooter. Wasn't going to stop most of them, y'all. Wasn't going to stop most of them. So they're coming up with solutions that will not address the problem. And again, like all the endemic fucked up things in our society, they're not going to be resolved by trying to trot out the same suggestions. We are not going to solve rape culture by telling women that they need to protect themselves. We're going to solve rape culture by making men understand that if they fucking rape, they die. Okay, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. What I meant to say, what I meant to say is that we need to make men understand that there are consequences. There are consequences for rape. And if people kill you for raping, well, you know, shit happens. But the people don't understand that we are looking at the situations all wrong. And trying to figure out a legislative solution to gun violence is not it. It is a mental health crisis. It is a poverty crisis. It is a crisis of accessibility. And if we make guns less accessible by stop making new ones at the bare minimum, then that's an actual fucking start that might lead to someplace somewhere. But guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I want to thank everyone who came out and showed up for us today. Shout out to even the new youngins who came through. We appreciate you. Shout out Bronx Bad Gal. What's going on, Bronx Bad Gal? This conversation has plenty of depth. As a teacher for 30 years in these New York City streets, it is hard out here. I already know, baby. It is hard, but you are still striving and surviving. Oh, happy 78th birthday to who? to Uncle John Carlos. Oh, it's John Carlos's birthday. My guy. Yeah, bro, John Carlos in the picture. Yes, happy birthday to John Carlos. Dr. John Carlos, if I'm not mistaken, Bronx Bad Gal. Thank you so much for your super chat support, honey. And I want to thank everybody that came through. Thank you, Latif and Courtney, for working very hard today. Guys, just a quick reminder, COVID is still out here jumping on people. Apparently, monkeypox is out here jumping on people. So please, I need you guys to comport yourself as if we are in a fucking pandemic still. That means mask indoors. That means wash your hands. That means stop dapping people up. Stop letting people come up and hug and fucking kiss you. Don't let people come up and hug and fucking kiss your kids. Like, we are in a serious health crisis right now, even though capitalism don't want to let you know that. But I need you guys to act like y'all moving out here with some fucking sense. I mean that shit seriously. I know. Anyway, y'all know how I feel about the situation anyway. Please have a good, safe weekend. I love you all to pieces. On behalf of Molly and Tunde, we will see you guys back here on Tuesday. Join us Tuesday morning for the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media starting at 8 a.m. On behalf of Tunde and Molly, we will see you guys on Tuesday. Thank you guys. See you later. Bye-bye.